Craig.
Ho, hello, hello.
Hello. Welcome to the Definitive Rolling Stones podcast. Let's spend the night together.
Let's do it.
I'm glad to have you here.
I'm glad you guys are here tonight, spending it together with us.
You're my beast of burden, Craig.
Uh-huh.
When I look at you, I have faraway eyes. Is it just my imagination that, well, I just want to have sex with you?
That I'm so respectable.
I am Dante, with you, one of your hosts.
I was bowing my head.
Peace be with you. Craig, how are things? How are you doing?
You know, sometimes I feel like I just can't get enough satisfaction. But other than that, they're going great.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
Is that even the Stones?
No. It's somebody else. I can't remember who.
Sometimes I feel like a little red rooster.
I'd love to imagine somebody that just is listening to us for the first time.
Yeah.
Wondering what the fuck is
They're
this?
like, this is odd.
Welcome, all you
just little,
all you looky-loos.
Little greetings, salutations.
You newcomers, green around the gills.
We're going to cover every second of information about the Rolling Stones.
If you like the Rolling
We don't
Stones,
miss a thing.
you've come to the right place,
Yeah.
partner.
Partner.
Boy, oh boy.
You've come to the right place, boyo. And we won't leave you with a lethal dose.
No.
Or take all your money or take all your clothes.
Craig, things have been getting crazy. We had that election. I have an erection.
Oh, election.
Mm-hmm. The reason I bring that up is because friend of the show, Yoko Ono.
That's right. Did she have something inspiring to say?
Yeah, so with our new Supreme Leader, dear leader Trump.
Like an artistic statement?
Yeah, I love Yoko because she talks for, those that cannot cry.
Yeah.
Those that cry out but don't have a voice.
That's a good way of putting it. I was going to say for a whole generation, but then I checked myself. Nay.
You checked your white privilege?
I checked my white privilege and cis male and realized that she speaks for many generations.
Ooh, wow.
Not just one.
Yeah. She's great. She's an artiste.
That's true.
Like I always said, the best thing that she did is
she's an art
take that dick from John Lennon.
Swallow John Lennon's kids.
Whole generations.
Yeah.
Well, we kid here. We love you, Yoko.
The best thing she did was not swallow Sean Lennon. Take that. Okay.
The best thing.
Now we're getting mean.
What do they say? Is like ran down the crack of your mama's ass.
Oh wow.
There's a brown stain on the mattress.
Oh wow. Jeez.
Jeez. That Arlie Ermy. I'm gonna go on a little tangent, but
okay. Before you get to the Yoko.
I was we were watching those MMA.
Oh yeah.
Fights, and I love those.
Those fellas are kind of mean to each other.
They're a little bit mean. But I was watching like Best Trash Talker, and then it talked about cutting weight, the most dramatic weight cuts.
Oh,
Now,
God.
Now, what do you think when you
they
think
stand up on the scale, and then they just faint?
Yeah, well, you know what they do, right? Like they jump in the sauna with those sweatsuits on.
Oh God! Yeah.
There was one that actually saw the fight. It was Dada 3000 against Kimbo Slice. It was the worst professional fight I've ever seen. It was two guys that were gassed, kind of like
Dada.
stumbling around each other. Dada 5000, 3000, whatever his name is.
He's an android.
Power Man 5000.
He's like C-3PO.
He reportedly cut 40 pounds in weight.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Now you might say,
Perfect.
well,
Wow.
doesn't that like hurt your organs?
No.
And
fine.
your heart?
Oh my God! It has to be
a number of other things.
Horrific thing to do to your heart.
Yeah, you'd be right because Dada 3000 had not only did he have one, but he had 2 heart attacks.
Well, he just has like machinery parts inside of him.
Yeah,
right?
he's
an android.
He
so he just needed some
cyborg.
oil dripped onto.
There was that
Wow.
like Patton. What Patton said is, "We'll rip out their guts and like grease our tank or grease our tank gears with them."
Oh my God!
Some brutal shit.
That's what Patton said.
Yeah. Oh man, but 40 pounds? Come on.
That's insane. So was he? See, that's the other thing is like, you're not gonna be up to your full fighting capabilities if you just cut 40 pounds.
Wow.
How the fuck are you gonna fight? I know they go and have a big plate of spaghetti after the weigh-in and shit like that. But that's not gonna bring it all back.
Yeah, you're not gonna gain 40 pounds in 24 hours.
Right.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Vanderlei Silva, who I used to love.
Oh, we
the
all
axe
shine
murderer.
on.
I saw another thing.
Vanderlei
It was
Silva.
the best chins and the worst chins.
The rape choke.
And I feel bad for Vanderlei Silva because sometimes it's like detrimental against you.
To have a good chin.
Yeah. Because they make
it's
you look
bad
like Rocky
long-term.
Dennis from Mask.
Oh, wow.
Some John
Eric
Merrick
Stoltz.
Elephant Man type business.
When you'd rather look like Eric Stoltz from Back to the Future.
Yeah, Marty McFly.
Pre Michael J. Fox casting.
I'd rather look like Biff Tannen from Back to the Future.
Even from Back to the Future 2.
You're gonna be my wife, Lorraine.
Oh, God.
Like screaming at her.
Get back in the jacuzzi, Lorraine.
she just is like, oh yeah, sure, Biff, and she has that giant bottle of vodka.
Biff. Oh, yeah.
Good.
She is doing her old lady voice in that movie. Elizabeth Perkins, or whoever that is. Or Leah Thompson? I don't know. Shelley Duvall is a good actress. You know who Shelley Duvall's always reminded me of? Like, a lot of people won't really get this reference, but there's this woman, I don't know if you guys know about this, like, there's a hotel up in kind of the hills near Sacramento if you take this long, windy road, but it's not that far from this bunker, and it's this place called the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah.
And there's this really nice family of caretakers that live there. And
Didn't they built that hotel on an Indian burial ground?
I believe so.
Now, I'm not
Might have been
any type of archetype. My character.
Archetype.
Yeah, that's probably not the best place to
Probably not a good
have your plans.
Good vibes coming out of there.
What do you think
Brian
would be
Wilson
a good plan or good business to be on an Indian burial ground?
I don't know, like a magic shop?
Arrowhead shop?
Yeah, an arrowhead shop. Yeah. But Wendy, who's staying there, she reminds me a lot of Shelley Duvall. Very similar voices.
I've never seen them both at the same time.
No, I haven't.
Yoko Ono has a message
Wendy
for Donald Trump. Yoko Ono.
Yeah, what did she have to say?
Very loud message for Donald Trump.
See, she's known to be very eloquent, articulate,
avant-garde.
Speaks very well. More than any of that, you might say she's avant-garde. I think maybe
the performance artist tweeted Friday addressing friends and the president-elect. Dear friends, I would like to share this message with you as my response to Donald Trump. Love, Yoko. Attached is a audio recording which we'll listen to.
Response to Donald Trump. No, he wasn't talking to you.
Ono has a long history of political activism, dating all the way back to the 60s.
To the bed-in.
When she and John Lennon held a bed-in for peace. Where they promoted world peace from their bedroom. Which might be the laziest thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, all they were saying was, you're a piece of chance.
Yeah. Ono is not the first artist to express her concern over Trump. Well, I can't think of an artist that hasn't, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no shit.
Dozens of celebrities reacted on Twitter after the election.
Not that I can blame him.
Donnie Trumpet announced he will no longer use his stage name and asked to go by Nico.
Donnie Trumpet? Why does that sound familiar?
I don't know.
Is he just
hack?
Oh yeah. That's not that jazz artist, is it?
I don't know, but if you're that butthurt about somebody's name sort of being like yours.
Yeah.
I have a friend named Oscar Schindler that he gets into a lot of trouble.
I can think of a couple things messed up about that name. Schindler.
Yeah. Nico said, I don't want to be connected to Trump's hateful tone or his hurtful message.
Nico from Velvet Underground?
No. She's pretty hot.
I hit you with a flower.
I don't want to be misrepresented or misunderstood. I don't want to be misrepresented, so I'm renaming myself Nico.
Do. Okay. So Donnie Trumpet is now Nico.
Mm-hmm.
And that's... What about the fucking chick from Velvet Underground or whatever?
She's still Nico.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Okay, so this is breaking news. This story is hot off the presses. Just got it over the wire.
Did you? I hear the telegraph and the...
Kurt Loder is actually working for us in the next room.
Kurt, get on the telegraph.
Shut
the fuck up, Kurt.
He works for us for nothing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feed him McDonald's cheeseburgers.
We let him pick up meatball subs for us sometimes.
Yeah.
With our money.
He says that they smell really good.
Yeah.
So, okay, for all you people out there, Yoko Ono responds to Donald Trump.
What do you have to say?
This is real, people. Oh, I'm sorry, that was my own speech.
That was your speech?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's seriously straight out of The Ring.
Yeah. I get, like, right after the first noise she made a really good point, like, in that midsection.
I think she was speaking Greek at one point.
Oh my god. Speaking in tongues. It's just like, if you're that brilliant, nobody else is going to get it. So, I guess she's just more brilliant than everybody. More artistic. I think that's what we learned today. Of course.
Seriously, though. I mean, she's never done anything of substance.
She was on Your Blues by the Dirty Mac.
She
playing like a hand drum.
Yeah. Sitting on the floor.
No, she's done nothing. What about that video where John and Chuck Berry are playing together? And Chuck Berry was probably like, yeah, like, I'll John Lennon, yeah, he's on the Beatles. I'll play with him. Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if Chuck Berry didn't
and
even
his
know
whole band can play?
Was.
Yeah, whatever. His whole band. I'm sure he's got a good band. Did you know his wife's in the band, Mr. Berry? There's a little issue there. We gotta wait. She makes these hyena calls in the middle of the
Okay, well,
song.
let's be fair, right?
And ignores all
Did you ever
music.
hear Linda McCartney? Sir Linda, or Mrs.
Dame Linda McCartney.
Yeah, Madame Linda McCartney.
Yeah.
She was in Paul's band, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever see her or hear her sing?
Little bit. But she's like at least singing. She's pretty bad though, isn't she?
I don't know.
You know, have you ever heard that John Lennon acoustic album? It has a couple of the songs are like from a live acoustic performance he did that I think was like Plastic Ono Band, I think. And so Yoko was there. And she does some like harmony vocals with him. And it's like not very good, but you can tell she like knows how to sing like a regular person. Because she's never like off key. Like she was perfectly in tune the whole time. And it wasn't like some powerful, beautiful voice. But it's like, oh, so you know how to sing. And you're just trying to do the exact opposite. But at what point is that, like, no longer art? You know, like, I can respect you wanting to experiment, but at some point, you're going, oh, ah, 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 ooh, ooh, ah, ooh, yee. That's not anything. What was that?
This is Linda McCartney.
Is it like her voice isolated?
It's an isolated track.
Oh, no. Live?
So remember, Paul slipped the sound guy a 20 to lower Linda's volume.
Yeah.
Somebody said smart move.
Well, she doesn't sing over this part.
Yeah.
Yeah. They gotta give her more in her fucking monitor. I know that's not the problem, but at least she'll think. Oh my god. Ooh.
Just all these people
like
are saying
note.
this has to be a parody. This is fake. This is fake. People, we give you those hits that you're not going to hear anywhere else.
That's right.
Isolated tracks for Linda McCartney.
The lovely, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Linda McCartney.
Oof. She is a jewel. You're the blues, John. You're the blues.
She can never be the worst. Second only to Madame Yoko Ono. I think that's really her. I don't think it's faked. Ooh.
What is going on?
Oh, the low note was not vibing.
No.
No. She sounded like Sam Elliott. Coors, the banquet beer.
Okay. I'm sure whatever fans we did
Hey
have.
Jude.
It's probably just me and you talking to nobody right now. Cause
Yeah.
everybody turned their
Just
shit
talking
off.
into the ether.
Yep.
People would not. There's no way they made it past that into the second half.
Not a chance. And they probably think we made that shit up or something.
Yeah.
It's all real.
Yeah, that was really Linda McCartney's vocals isolated.
Gosh, she sounds bad.
I mean, it's not good. It's really bad. What is this?
This is a song that I usually do some poppers to.
Oh my god, this is like the popper song.
Yeah.
Put on your Italian shoes and do a popper.
I made the mistake of going into the bathroom in Studio 54.
Did you?
Yeah.
And
I got there early, but
your hands have been sticky ever since.
I think there's like a termite problem or something because all the stalls had holes in them.
Huh.
Yeah.
Really? Like,
yeah.
At like waist level, maybe a little below?
Oh, you've seen them? Have you been there?
I have been there, yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like...
Everybody always has a runny nose.
It must be some kind of insect problem because it
was
looks
allergy
like...
thing.
There's like, snail trails everywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so snails, allergies, making them sniff.
I wouldn't go in there
termites.
with
Wow,
a black light. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, God.
Probably looks like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Did you ever see that documentary about the woman that she buys this painting from a garage sale?
And cum all over it.
Joke's on you, old bitch.
Oh,
no, so she's convinced that it's a Jackson Pollock painting, and then all these people, like art dealers and whatnot, are saying, no, you're like really wrong. And she's like, what's the difference between this and this? It looks the same. So the whole movie is about her trying to get this authenticated.
Really?
Yeah. And she knows so little about art. It's great.
Oh, God.
Because you have like all these... Oh, do you have a lighter? You have like all these people that are... Oh, it's right here. All these people that are snobs.
Yeah.
She like bought this painting for next to nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Did she end up getting to sell it for a lot?
It's kind of lame. They can't prove that it's a Jackson Pollock, but they can't prove that it's not.
Well,
yeah, exactly. And I was like, really? After the whole movie? I skimmed the movie, so I didn't feel like I got cheated.
Yeah.
Craig, we like movies here, films, talkies.
Any movie that Bill Wyman, the Poonhound, is in,
Poonhound.
I will watch. And there's millions of films that he's in.
There's a new movie coming out.
The only movies I like are Free Jack and Performance. The only two I like.
John Cusack and Michael Shannon. Cusack, and I'm not talking about Joan.
Oh my gosh.
The Elvis and Nixon story.
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
Not really, but
one of my favorite stories, and what is it like? The fiction is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, the truth is stranger than fiction. Yeah, I saw that they're making a movie out of it. I thought I heard they had some kind of a relationship, but I don't know anything. I just saw that trailer and I was like, I can't imagine there's a movie's worth of information here. But I'm totally unfamiliar with the story.
This is one of my favorite rock stories.
Really?
And
I'm always down for an Elvis story. I really don't know.
It's all true.
Really?
Just look at this picture of Elvis.
But what the fuck is wrong with that guy? Looks like someone's grandfather.
The bizarre story behind the time Elvis met Nixon. In the late 70s, the king of rock and roll had an unexpected White House meeting with Tricky Dick.
Tricky Dick?
On December 19...
Was Lisa Marie there?
I don't think so.
Shut up, Lisa Marie!
On December 19th, 1970, Elvis's wife, Priscilla, and his father, Vernon, confronted Elvis at Graceland about his lavish spending habits.
Priscilla would get it.
I love this. Elvis had spent more than $100,000 on Christmas presents. Angered what Christmas presents you might think? It was like over 30 guns, a bunch of Benzes.
Who'd he get them for?
Himself.
Really?
Yeah, he just bought a bunch of guns for himself. Angered by the confrontation.
Like, Elvis, I don't think you understand the meaning of Christmas. It's not buy myself guns.
He's nuts, man. Angered by the confrontation, Elvis drove to the airport and caught... I'll just refer to him as the king from now on. Next available flight out of Memphis. Happened to be bound for Washington, D.C. After he checked into his hotel, he changed his mind and decided he would rather not head home to L.A. A day after... he did go to L.A. A day after arriving in L.A., the king called Jerry Schilling, a member of the Memphis Mafia, which is his crew, his posse, his gang, to have him arrange a flight for both of them back to Washington, D.C. Jerry didn't know why the king wanted to go back, but he suspected that he wanted to get a Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs badge, that was his motive. That's what they called the DEA before it was called the DEA. It was a Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs.
Really?
BNDD. Huh. On a red-eye flight to D.C., the king met a then-senator, and Elvis expressed to this man his desire to do something about the growing anti-American drug culture, and having a DEA badge would help him make a difference. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but at this time, Elvis is like a huge pill popper.
Yeah.
Really into drugs. All kinds of drugs.
Is this like Viva Las Vegas time?
This is...
that's another song that sounds like you need to be on coke to like fully understand it. Walking out of a bathroom of Studio 54. Sticky hands. Nose runny.
Maybe
something happened to you in one of that had to do with one of the holes in the stalls.
One of my favorite Elvis bits. He's in Las Vegas. It's like at the end of his life. So he's all pilled out of his head. Yeah. And he's singing the song. And midway through the song, there's some guy in the crowd, and the guy, his toupee falls off his head. Yeah. And Elvis just starts like laughing as hard as he can while he's trying to sing the song.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not like they stop. The music is still playing. All the backup singers are dancing and singing.
Really?
And there's Elvis just laughing like a little girl at this guy. And he goes, "Oh, his hair fell off." I love
his hair fell off. His hair fell off, man.
The king actually liked collecting badges, thanks to his level of fame. He regularly interacted...
Yeah, I got 8 badges. Canto League.
So he interacted with different police departments for security purposes. Whenever he traveled or performed, because of this, he received many honorary police badges. Ooh. Elvis isn't that. Elvis developed a bit of a habit of always traveling with his collection of badges. I couldn't make this stuff up. According to Priscilla's autobiography, Elvis and Me, he expressed to her a strong desire to acquire a DEA badge from Nixon.
The Elite Four.
And I love this, because he thought it would make him invincible allowing him to travel anywhere with guns and drugs. So,
what the fuck?
His reasoning behind it was not to help out America and the drug culture. It was so he could be above the law.
Oh my god. That's like Bill Murray in Kingpin.
Yeah.
I finally did it. I'm rich enough. I can do whatever I want.
The senator suggested to the king to write Nixon offering help. So, before arriving in D.C., he handwrote a letter to Nixon introducing himself and asking for a meeting. Elvis then hand-delivered the letter to the White House gate at 6:30 in the morning. After dropping off the letter at the White House, Elvis headed out to the headquarters of DEA and was able to get a meeting with Deputy Director. Unfortunately, Elvis, though, this guy denied the request for a badge. Meanwhile, at the White House, Elvis's letter was delivered to a man who was the aide and liaison for the DEA. He was a big fan of Elvis and thought the meeting between Elvis and Nixon would be a great idea, and persuaded the White House bosses to allow him to arrange it. This man would later be in prison for his part in the Watergate scandal.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Is Nixon a fan of the king?
I don't think Nixon even knows really who Elvis is, what he's about.
He doesn't know about rock and roll or who the king is?
So this aide set it up. Elvis, who came so that day, they set it up. 6:30. Drops off the letter that day. They're like, yeah, sure, Elvis. He has that kind of fucking power that he can see the President of the United States that day.
Wow.
Elvis came dressed in a purple velvet jumpsuit with matching cape and a heavy gold chain and was wearing his trademark sunglasses.
Yeah.
He arrived at noon, so only 5.5 hours later, he's in the White House. He was accompanied by his bodyguard.
And he's sniffing a lot.
Oh, no. After taking a few photos, Elvis immediately began showing Nixon his badges from different police departments.
From different cities in Canada.
Look at that.
Gyms.
Real picture.
That he beat. Yeah, that's insane. Oh my god. Does he have like a WWE belt?
That's his, I guess that's the rhinestone belt. It looks like some kind of Aztec design.
Viva! Viva! Las Vegas.
This I thought was interesting. Elvis indicated that he thought the Beatles had been a real force for anti-American spirit. He said that the Beatles came to this country, made their money, and then returned to England, where they promoted an anti-American theme. The Beatles love
the Beatles.
Elvis Presley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe Elvis should talk about Little Richard more. Just saying.
A little jealous much?
The president nodded in agreement and expressed some surprise. The president then indicated that those who use drugs are also the vanguard of the anti-American protest. Violence, drug use, dissidents, protesters in general are the same group of young people. Then Elvis said to Nixon, "I'm on your side." According to the aide, Elvis then asked for a DEA badge, which Nixon replied, "Can we get him a badge?"
Oh my god.
The aide said yes, and Nixon ordered it to be done.
Holy shit.
Elvis then told Nixon how much he supported him and hugged him to everyone's...
yeah, now he supports him.
Per Elvis's request, and the meeting was kept a secret. And it remained a secret for over a year until a reporter broke the story.
Oh, wow.
This is my favorite part of the story. You might say to yourself, the President of the United States says, yeah, sure, you can come over. You might want to bring him a gift. Elvis says, yeah, sure. Before leaving, Elvis presented Nixon with a World War II-era commemorative Colt 45 he had taken from his house and carried into the White House, much to the dismay of the Secret Service. So the gun is on display in the Nixon library.
Oh my god. They're like, dude, you can't walk up and give a gun.
They didn't, I don't think they knew, because it was, it almost looks like it's in a cigar box.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, he just opened it up, like, hey Mr. President, hey man, groovy, man. You like to shoot?
Yeah, Viva Las Vegas, man.
The DEA specifically designed a badge with Elvis's name on it. He picked it up later that afternoon and then headed to Graceland.
And headed to the Indigo Plateau? He got all his badges, baby.
The National Archives gets more requests for this copy of Richard Nixon, or the photo of Richard Nixon and Elvis Presley in the Oval Office, more than any other request. That includes the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the moon landing, and the Civil Rights Movement.
Oh, wow.
People are... I think it's so...
That's insane.
It's so strange because they're polar opposites.
What, Elvis
and
Nixon?
Nixon, yeah. Like, not in a million years would you think that they would ever get together.
Was it just like Nixon going, oh, I'll be cool if I get Elvis in here?
Not even him. It was one of his aides. I think they were trying to, to make him look cool. Create a narrative, and then they weren't even able to do that because Elvis is such a nut. He's like...
Keep this private.
Yeah.
Huh. And then he got everything he wanted.
Yeah.
Just for free. So he
went to the within a matter of 6 hours, he went to the White House.
With a gun.
Walked
up to the president holding a gun.
Then got his DEA badge. Oh, what would you, like, this fucking nut comes in.
No,
he's like coked out, pulled out of his head. He's like, let me show you my badges, Mr. President.
Yeah.
And just starts throwing this shit on your desk.
Jailhouse Rock is not worth letting a man live above the law. Blue Hawaii is close, but not enough to let a man just fucking live beyond
Well, you
the
know
law.
that Elvis was in the Army.
That's right.
Yeah, he got drafted.
Is he a pilot or something?
Nah, they didn't have him do anything. I think Jimmy Stewart was, or Ted Williams.
Yeah, Ted Williams. He was the one that was a pilot, I think. Yeah, Ted Williams.
And those were in the his prime years of his career.
Yeah.
You gotta be a tough son of a bitch to go to war.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about Pat Tillman was, he was in the NFL, and then it wasn't at the end of his career, it was during his career.
Like he was just
like, I'll just,
prime.
The whole thing, it's, you love the warrior, not the war.
Yeah.
You have to respect that guy for what he did.
What about Glenn Coffey?
Who's that?
He was the guy who has a great name, especially for sports. He got drafted by the 49ers, and he had I think they still had Frank Gore, and he played some as a backup, but I think maybe Gore got hurt or something. Like, he got to play enough to where it was like, wow, this kid's good. Like, he could be a starting back in the NFL for sure. And then before his second year, he goes, you know what, I'm retiring. They're like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go join, I think it was the Army. I think. It was one of the branches of the military. It was just like, yeah, I'm not joking. Like, I'm not,
I wonder what...
This isn't my calling to play football.
What made him do that? Because you're turning down so much money.
That's what's insane about it. But it was like a purpose thing, I think. To do this, play a meaningless game. And I love football, but, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's a kid's game.
Or to, I guess, help the cause or whatever was his thought.
My dad
country,
would always tell me that, sports statistics and, records and just knowing things, he's like, there's not more worthless information in the world than that. Because it won't help you in any situation.
No.
Unless you happen to be getting drunk with your boss and you can talk about football or something, which doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Hunter S. Thompson, the great doctor of gonzo journalism, he met Richard Nixon. In, I guess it was the 70s. And he wasn't allowed to talk to him about politics. The only thing that he could talk to him about was sports. So he rolled around in the back of this limo with Tricky Dick. And they were talking about, the Washington Redskins.
Really?
Yeah, I guess Nixon was, a huge football fan. And so was Hunter S. Thompson.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. They talked about the Redskins.
And talk about, I wouldn't say anti-American, but what's, the anti-hero. Hunter S. Thompson is that.
Yeah.
I can't think of, another person that personify that.
Whew.
It's raining like cats and dogs.
Oh, woof woof, meow meow. Them Rolling Stones. Everybody, I know all you guys are excited about Blue and Lonesome coming on out here pretty soon. That's coming out, was it 5 days? It's less than a week. So we're going to have to get that and have like a release show. And yeah, that'll be really cool.
We're going to have some kind of... We're going to throw a party that night here.
Yeah.
At the compounds.
Yeah, we'll try and get everybody...
Kurt Loder.
We'll even maybe let Kurt speak.
Yeah.
And give his opinion of Blue and
Maybe
Lonesome.
he can, because I know he's going to set up, you know,
he
the
might get an
tables and
advanced
decorations
copy.
and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll let him stick around for, I don't know, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I let him have a
generous,
meatball.
Maybe 7 minutes.
I let him have a meatball.
You can eat off the floor.
Out of the garbage. Yeah, he can give his review of the album. I'm going to buy him a copy.
Yeah.
Isaac Brock's going to get a copy. John Lennon. Maker Felge.
It's huge. I mean, we don't, that's...
Liam and Noel Gallagher.
I mean, these are the holidays here.
Yeah.
Let's spend the night together. Whenever the Stones are dropping a new record, that's...
Like Sands in the Hourglass, these are the days of our lives.
We get excited here,
Craig. Yeah. The new album's going to be dope.
And how can you not?
Isaac, yeah. Isaac Brock, I got him on my mind.
I know we had talked about it earlier, but I'm really ready for price of weed to go down.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully it will.
January 20th. Is that when, like, everything really goes into effect? I know that's when
probably
the new president is sworn in.
Maybe it is, and then I wonder if people will be, like, opening stores. I don't even get how that shit works. Like... Aren't there going to be stores, like, you go in and you show them, like, your ID to show you're, like, 21, and then they can just sell you weed? Like, is that how it'll be?
I think so.
That's so fucking weird.
I heard that it's going to be, like, coffee houses, because you can't sell weed and alcohol at the same establishment.
Oh.
But you can sell, like, coffee and, you know, food and stuff.
Hopefully they'll sell meth with it, too.
That's what I'm hoping.
Even me out a little bit.
I like to shoot bleach into my balls.
Really?
Yeah. With a rusty needle. I've been using the same needle for about 10, 15 years now.
And that just brings excruciating pain. You pee blood. You can't produce sperm anymore.
It's worth the high, man.
Yeah, it sounds great.
I just ride the wave.
Oh. You chasing that dragon, dog?
Yeah.
Whew. So what are we on now? This is episode 9?
My goodness
gracious. Damn, we'll have to have something special in store.
Are we just running on
for
fumes
episode
right
10?
now?
Well, right now?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of
going up
catching up.
Oh, no, I'm saying like the episodes.
Oh, episode-wise? Oh, I thought you meant right now. Yeah. No, I mean, we're doing a lot of bonus just as far as I'm like, I want to keep going, you know. I still want to get all the way through. But next we're going to do Out of Our Heads, the 4th U.S. Stones album. And that one's got a couple of Stone Cold classics on it.
Texas Rattlesnake?
And it's the Steve Austin 316.
I'm about to stomp a mud hole dry.
Are you really?
The Texas Rattlesnake!
Then isn't it December's Children and Everybody's?
You know, this is supposed to be, I get letters all the time. I get pigeon mail. I get snail mail.
Snail trails.
I get a snail trail on my back. Okay, so anyways, a lot of people are asking
me. We didn't need to know that.
Dante, they say.
Yeah.
Dante. What about Ian Stewart? This is supposed to be the definitive Rolling Stones podcast.
Ian Stewart.
You guys never give Ian Stewart.
We haven't given Ian
his due.
Stewart his due.
It's been long enough.
This is like the Ian Stewart special.
Yeah.
Because he got done dirty. Like, that's kind of a forgotten thing.
By Andrew...
Fucking Nanker Felge gets credit before Ian Stewart. who, I mean, wasn't he like, okay, he was unofficially, so he officially was not a member of the band, but wasn't he an equal member of the band?
Yeah.
Like, he, like, helped compose all the music just as much as Bill Wyman or Charlie Watts or...
Bill Wyman.
That's fucked up. Or was he not that involved?
According to Keith Richards, Ian Stewart was the glue that held the whole thing together.
Oh my god.
And not just in the early days when his piano playing was integral to the blues and R&B that the band was playing across London clubs. Mm-hmm. He later drove the van, literally, tens of thousands of miles on Britain's roads, figuratively. You drive the van, man. As the Stones sought to establish themselves later as their trusted road manager, confidant, and at times their music conscience, he was ever present.
That's so fucked up.
For their manager, the band's, he said that there was had been one more Rolling Stone. He argued that a 6-man band was one man too many, and Ian was dropped from the lineup. To the credit of the band, they did not drop him, and he not only fulfilled his duties as a road manager, but he also played on their countless recordings and later their onstage pianist. So wow. This guy did everything.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. So he was even their manager?
Yeah.
Holy
Born
shit.
Ian Stewart, Stu, as everybody called him. He was born in Scotland.
And later we get to Nicky Hopkins, who's another nutty keyboardist, and I think he's the one I get mixed up. He's the one I think that was in the Jeff Beck group.
Oh yeah.
Not Ian Stewart. Yeah, I think it was
Stu would
Nicky
turn
Hopkins.
Up early band rehearsals at the Bricklayer's Arms on his bike and would park outside before pounding away on his beloved boogie-woogie piano. He was once asked why did he not play on Wild Horses. Stu laughed and said, "Minor chords. I don't like playing minor chords. When I'm playing on stage with the Stones and a minor chord comes along, I lift my hands in protest."
Wow.
Among the many Stones tracks which Stu appears on are Around and Around, Down the Road, A Piece, Honky Tonk Woman, Let It Bleed, Brown Sugar, Starfucker, and It's Only Rock and Roll, But I Like It. Away from his work with the Stones, Stu played piano with lots of bands, beating out that boogie rhythm and performing his beloved blues.
Ian Stewart.
So, December 1985, Stu died of a heart attack. His humor, loyalty, his band, friendship, everyone around the Rolling Stones said he would be sorely missed. There were hundreds of people from the world of music at Stu's funeral to honor a man that everyone liked. There was certainly nothing minor about the golf-loving, boogie-woogie playing Stu, whose bulging back pocket was always full of spanners, screwdrivers, and his wallet. I don't know what that means.
What? Some kind of sexual thing? Spanners?
Yeah. So yeah, he's the 6th member of the Rolling Stones. I mean,
he's the 6th Stone.
And he
What about Stuart Sutcliffe?
I don't know who that is.
Pete Best.
Alright, let's hear a little bit of his...
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Stewart on piano.
He's the piano man.
Thanks, Mick. Yeah, I thought I heard a engine start, like, pulling up to the bunker outside, like it could have been some kind of tractor or something. Oh, maybe it was a snowcat.
I know.
It sounded like a snowcat. I don't know. Could be my imagination. Imagination.
I know that there's acid rain outside right now.
Is there? Yeah.
You can hear it.
Yeah, it burns.
I don't want to go out there. It burns like molten lava.
Buddy.
We're
still working out the kinks on Wheezing the Juice.
Yeah,
that podcast may
listen to
become a thing.
To how many episodes was that ago? The episode with Artemio.
2 episodes ago, I think. Yeah, not the last one, the one before.
For our one fan out there, who probably knows what we're talking about.
Ep 7.
Ep 7.
Which I think was the one
The Way We Were.
The Keith Richards Magic Stick. Which we eventually got to the story.
That was like the last, literally like the last 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's because
most of the time we were wheezing the juice.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, I hate to repeat myself, but I get here, hours before.
Hours.
I set up everything, I make sure that there's a nice...
Fucking hours, mate.
There's a nice display here.
Fucking
There's
Oasis.
a craft service table. We have tons of people that work for the podcast.
Yeah. A lot of craft service.
A lot. But I didn't get to the Stones store until the very end.
Yeah. Well, we try to not leave any stone unturned. And,
good stuff.
Just
put on your laughing hat.
Pop it on. Yeah. So this is our third little detour, but we're still giving Stones comprehensive news.
We're adding
and
to the
knowledge. Adding to the lore.
Yeah, the lore. We're helping out.
We're building the lore.
Not only the Rolling Stones, but I get letters from people and they say,
"Yeah,
I love you guys because you talk about all kinds
the stuff that's really important."
Yeah, it's stuff that's really important. That's happened 40 years ago.
Yeah,
I really dig it.
Yeah. Now, Ian Stewart, as far as I know, he's never written into the show, has he?
It's funny you say that because
I hear tell he passed away.
I have a soothsayer. Some people call him a Ouija board. I call him a soothsayer.
Is it from the Primal Scream?
No.
Is that what you use?
I bought it from this gypsy.
From the Maharishi Kesh?
It's not funny to make fun of people's religions, Craig.
Oh my god. That's true. That's true.
So anyways, yeah, I talked to this guy.
Hare Krishna.
He was
Maybe.
he's on the other astral plane.
Oh, okay. Now I understand what you're talking about.
So
yeah,
we were talking, and Stu. He said hi.
Shit.
He said he really enjoyed this.
Did he?
Yeah.
You kind of communicated with him, not really.
Well, I didn't know. I don't want to talk for you.
Touch souls.
But I said, hey Stu, you're all right.
And he's like, fuck you.
And he said,
but thanks.
He said, okay. And that was it. And I was like, wow, that was amazing. I had never, spoke to the dead.
In shit.
It was very
enlightening.
Yeah, very to the point. It makes you think, like, life. Wow.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
I think this is the beginning of an episode of Theologians. I'm not sure.
Everybody loves theologians.
Yeah. The newest segment where we dive deep. We're getting deeper and deeper by the minute, baby.
I know what people love when they come to hear about music.
Yeah.
Just throw in some God talk.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's like, what's the most,
time I've spent in the astral plane? It's, God, that's hard to estimate because time travels differently there.
Subjects that will make everybody upset
is
religion and politics.
Yeah.
If you bring those up, there's no winning.
No.
Because somebody will be mad at you.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't even say, like, oh, I support all sides. Or, like, there's no way around it. No.
It's... There, I was at a bar that I was drinking and I lean over and there's a sign that says no religion, no politics. We should get that for the bunker.
Should put that up in here? Yeah.
Remind ourselves. But it's so hard to, just start ranting like Kanye.
Yeah. He's blowing it, dude. He's not doing good.
A little recap. We had a story about the Rolling Stones being rumored to be part of the inauguration.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you remember when Obama did it? Like, people... Everybody was, like, clamoring to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it was pretty historic, but...
Ian Stewart couldn't do it, but he would have, probably.
It's gotten to the point where if somebody claims that you're playing at the inauguration...
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
They just rip you apart in social media and the press.
Yeah.
And I found that out last week where it was Vince Neil from Motley Crue. It was just rumored that he would play there. And he had to come out and say, no, I would never do that. And all these people were losing their minds.
In other words, he was going to. He heard the backlash and called up like the Trump people and was like, you know what, I'm sorry. I can't
yeah, fuck that. Career. I thought this was going to help my career, and I heard it.
Heard it. So, peace. Wow.
Because these people aren't doing this shit out of love of the country. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, they want to look good. And so this week, the rumor was Elton John. Now, Elton John, as you know, happens to be gay.
Yes,
fabulously. I didn't know that.
Famously, fabulously.
For the longest time. I think my mom probably told me. I didn't know Elton John was gay, and I didn't know Freddie Mercury was gay. And then when somebody tells you, you think, how did I not see that before?
Yeah, right. I heard that about Michael Stipe. And I seriously was kind of the same way. I was like, I never thought that, and then I was like, I can kind of see that now. And just kind of whatever.
Yeah, it's really not a big deal.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, that's... Pence has said a lot of things about gays. I think he believes in that, like, conversion therapy.
Like conversion or something? Yeah.
So...
That's unfortunate.
I saw a story that Dateline did about that, like, years ago when I was still in high school.
Yeah.
And this woman was saying she was lesbian, and every time that she would have, like, a compulsion or something, they would make her smell bleach.
Oh my god.
And I was like, this is straight out of Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Or like, when they thought people were witches. Or something like that.
Yeah, so every time you would have this, a thought or something.
Yeah, I'd give you an association.
Which makes me think, like, well, then why the fuck would I tell these people I'm having, like, thoughts? I'm really, nope. Yeah. I'm fine.
That's insane.
But anyway, so yeah, so because of Pence, and a lot of people are suspicious about what Trump thinks about gay rights, to have Elton John play there that says something.
Oh, okay.
And it came out later this week. Again, it was a rumor, but Elton John had to clear his name.
I'm not gonna play for bloody Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It was just like that.
Me and Bernie Taupin are not gonna play for Trump. That's it.
Wouldn't it be great if he sent out Bernie?
I bloody never said it. Bernie Taupin's coming out, isn't it? That'd be better. Supporting Trump. What?
I really wonder who...
Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. That's what Trump's saying to him right now.
The bitch is back. You think, or, I think, Elton John, gay? And then I see him in the, like the Donald Duck costume.
Oh.
Did you ever see that one?
I don't know if I saw that.
Oh, man.
His sunglasses.
I mean...
He's a silly guy. He's a silly goose. Old Elton. Sir Elton John. One of the greats. Yeah. He said goodbye to Yellow Brick Road. His gift was his song. And this one's for you. Okay. I didn't know where to go with that. This is another one.
I heard he had a brother named Daniel.
Must be the clouds in his eyes.
Thanks for tuning in to Elton John talk.
Yeah, we're back to Elton John.
We closed up place.
Theologians a minute ago.
This
now we're into Elton talk.
You can come here and get your the best Elton John talk around the world.
Yeah, and we've explained to you with many segments of like which artists we don't like, and we condemn them. We make fun of them because of arbitrary things that we don't like about them personally, instead of any
our own bias. But
yeah, exactly.
Whatever. Everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
If you don't like it,
artists.
Go take a long walk off a short pier.
Uh-oh. Take that.
Yeah.
America.
Don't get me mad.
Guys, don't get him started. He's getting all red in the face. Yeah. I don't remember where I was going with that.
I'd like to think that they listen to this podcast and they're getting a little bit of rock history, a little bit of the news,
a
little bit of religion,
politics, religion, health and medicine and science.
Yeah.
Pseudoscience. And with no real knowledge of any of it.
It's like...
But are we experts? Correct. Yes, we are. And
I have 4 PhDs, of which I printed off the computer, and they're all in color.
5.
So, oh wow, you are a smart man.
That's
you are
right.
a learned scholar.
That is right.
Man of the people.
It's no big deal. I mean, I can lord over you with that, but that's all. No biggie. After all, Saturday night's all right for fighting.
Oh.
Just a little zinger.
Segue.
Coming at you with that.
I know our fans love segues.
So Elton John, he gets the thumbs up from us. We dig Mr. Elton.
I mean, Elton, he has good songs. They have really interesting melodies. He's a great voice.
Yeah. The composition of it, is really good. You know,
Yeah.
it's written from a guy who, really knows music and writes it through a piano instead of,
and to
just
think that he
grabbing a guitar.
Doesn't write the lyrics. So if somebody just gave you lyrics, and you had to write the music and the melody for that,
yeah.
That's almost harder, man.
Yeah.
Because when you write stuff yourself, you can imagine in your head what it'll sound like, or you can just be like, oh, that doesn't work. This is he's forced to...
I wonder how he does that, yeah. Because that's what he said, right? A lot. Maybe not every time, but a lot of the time he would write it, based off the words.
Yeah.
That's fucking nutty. So it's not like he wrote the music and then had him write words and then... Maybe sometimes or something, but I think for the most part he would get the words and come up with music to fit it. That's nuts.
Oh, excuse me.
Because it is
I'm having a coughing
super
spell.
Interesting. Oh god, it is super interesting if you try and follow along with his chords. It's not like other rock music.
I like to listen to skiffle.
It's not as good as skiffle group. Called Oasis. Oasis is my favorite skiffle group, I would say.
I found...
But it's Comme C'est, Comme Ça.
The story, the best and most controversial rock story in existence. I don't know when to... I can't even just throw it on you at the end of the podcast.
Oh, you can't?
It's a podcast to itself.
Oh.
You already know it.
Yeah.
But it's a Led Zeppelin story.
It's when Mark David Chapman... Zeppelin, so when he killed John Bonham?
Yeah. He poured all that alcohol down his throat.
He poured Bonham's puke back into his mouth.
He puked into Bonham's mouth.
Oh my god. Wow, a Zeppelin. Oh, I think I know what it is.
Red Snapper for a Red
Snapper. That... Should we go there right now, or?
Well, I have another story.
Okay.
But that Zeppelin story is I'm trying to read a few articles about it, so that I kind of know the whole story, because there's a really a history of, I mean, it's just urban legends and
was
what
it the
really
same
happened.
Cat that wrote Old God's Almost Dead about the Stones? Didn't he write the Hammer of the Gods about the Zeppelin? Stephen Davis.
Yeah, great book.
That book's really good. That tells a pretty comprehensive story of the Red Snapper is greater than or equal to Red Snapper.
They got kicked out of that hotel for doing that.
For putting... Okay, never mind. Yeah.
And so they got banned, and they got let back in 5 years later.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What is it, under new management or something?
Robert Plant pulled it out for him, and they're like, yes, sir. You get the VIP suite. Hang on.
Craig.
Ahoy, hoy.
In fiction and folklore, a doppelganger is a look-alike, a double of a living person, sometimes portrayed as a paranormal phenom. He's usually seen as a harbor
coat, the REM song.
Harbinger of bad luck. In other traditions, the stories they even recognize one's double gooer as an evil twin. Okay, the doppelganger is often used for more general sense to describe any person who physically or by behavior represents another person. This is kind of
spooky. I'm getting the chills over here.
Why am I talking about a doppelganger, Craig?
Yeah.
What do you know about Chris Gaines, Craig?
I know that he's... Where do I start? Legend?
Yeah.
Like an unbelievable talent.
A lot of
prodigy,
people
I guess,
out there in radio world might
giant cock
be thinking to themselves,
voice.
"Who are these boys?
Chris
Who are these beautiful boys from Sacramento talking about?"
Beautiful boys from Sacramento. A lot of people call us that.
Chris Gaines.
Chris Angel.
Chris Gaines came out.
He's the mind freak, the magician. Oh, that's Chris Angel.
I mean, pretty much what happened is Garth Brooks sold more records, millions of records in the 90s than Nirvana, more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And
he's got some dope songs.
What do you do when you've done it all?
You
lose your mind.
Yes, I think so.
You grow a soul patch.
You morph.
You dye your hair black.
You become the aforementioned doppelganger. And now, glad I didn't know.
I just don't understand. I
remember this one. My sister bumping this one at that volume up to.
What do you do to this kind of song? This is like something.
Rock out.
Do your laundry or?
I hit a punching bag to it.
To this?
And screamed into pillows.
It seems very. It seems very mellow.
Yeah, it is for some people.
Not you though.
No.
Interesting.
This makes me want to scream. No, I'm just
primal scream.
Primal scream. No, yeah, he got insanely big, and there was nothing bigger you could do. So I'm gonna become Chris. What is it? Chris Bridges. Chris Gaines. That's it.
Well, it's like the thing I always say with comedians. You're only on top. Like your shelf life is very short. We just saw Kevin Hart's last stand-up. What's next?
Yeah.
That's how I felt after watching
He has to become Kevin Hart, Chris Gaines. Kevin Gaines. That's his only next move, is Gaines.
Years ago, I read Steve Martin's biography, and he's talking about doing stand-up comedy, because he was the biggest stand-up comedian in his time. And he said when he started to see...
Father of the Bride? Yeah. No, I'm just joking.
He said when he started to see empty seats in the back, he knew that it was starting to come down.
Oh.
So he quit when he was on top.
Oh, wow.
But,
wow.
That's crazy. It's just...
And then he came back out with a goatee and was called Steve Gaines. Wow.
Let's get to it.
And then Chris Gaines died in a horrible plane crash. And Garth Brooks resurfaced.
Was at the wheel?
Jesus was at the wheel, and Garth Brooks took over.
For all his talent and genius, Garth Brooks has made some questionable career decisions.
Like what?
From trying to be a baseball player to launching his own digital platform, Ghost Tunes.
Oh.
Instead of joining iTunes.
Oh,
Brooks is no stranger to head scratching. But his most egregious foray,
Trisha Yearwood?
without a doubt, was his alter ego, Chris Gaines. 17 years ago,
that's brilliant.
September 1999, Brooks released the album Garth Brooks.
The world got a little worse that day.
Garth Brooks, in the life of Chris Gaines. It confused the hell out of people. Garth Brooks, in the life of Chris Gaines.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
For starters, the cover of his album just said, Chris Gaines' Greatest Hits. You might remember it. It's the one with brooding, soul-patched, bangs-covered, eyes shadow-faced, resembling Brooks. It was Brooks. The sound, too, confused fans. It was pegged as rock and roll, his alter ego, but instead landed much closer to the pop realm.
Yeah.
In fact, the album hit number 2 on Billboard's pop chart, and even gave him his one and only charting single, "Lost in You." But did you know Chris Gaines' experiment was a bigger, more elaborate plan? The elaborate backstory. Now we're gonna give you people the skinny. Not gonna hear it anywhere else.
Greatest hits.
Yeah.
That's so fucking weird. That explains. I've always
pretentious
wondered
and
what was up with that. I thought he just their dumbass record label released somehow a greatest hits, even though he only had 1 or 2 albums. So that was the whole thing. Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Chris Gaines was actually a movie character. I'm not making this up.
Oh my god, no
Chris
way.
Gaines was actually trying not to get the douche chills.
Is this the
wall? when I
he has pink.
Describe the next 2 paragraphs.
Which one's pink?
He was a movie character, and as far as alter egos go, Chris Gaines had by far the most complex backstory out there.
No shit.
The entire thing was created for a planned thriller film called The Lamb, that featured Chris Gaines, the character. So the Greatest Hits album was about creating the film's universe with an elaborate story or character backstory. The story is, in all honesty, pretty absurd. Chris Gaines and his rebellious friend, Tommy, started a rock band in 1985 LA during their high school years. The band, called Crush, played local clubs until... You don't like Crush?
Boo.
Until...
Is their drummer Twist?
They played local clubs until eventually getting their big break. It really annoys me when somebody describes their big break. After gaining some fame, Tommy dies in a plane crash, completely shattering Chris Gaines. Chris, who never had the approval of his father, set out to make a solo record which sold 12 million copies.
And he was in Crash? In the story or whatever?
Who, Chris Gaines?
Yeah.
No, his buddy Tommy was in the Crash.
Or no, in the band, Crush.
Yeah. But I guess at this point, is he just Chris Gaines? I don't know. They don't.
Because they were making it sound like the band, something happened to them, and then he made an album solo.
Well, I guess after Tommy died, they probably ended Crush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to.
Gaines, who never had the approval of his father, set out to make a solo record which sold 12 million copies. That's probably the first absurdity in the whole story. His father eventually dies of cancer, and Gaines...
Not the first. I'm sure there's many more.
His unrequited love for his father eventually spirals into a serious sex addiction.
With his father?
No, this dead father. It's like the worst weekend at Bernie's you've ever seen.
Oh my god. Starring Garth Brooks.
As Chris Gaines.
As the delicious Chris Gaines.
What is that, father, incestual,
Oedipus
necrophilic,
Rex. Yeah.
I don't know, corpse fucking.
Patriarchal, or whatever. Yeah.
Well, Craig, dead white men have been fucking me and my people
Plus, they're usually cis.
For decades, so you don't know about oppression.
That's
my brother
Very
Daniel.
true.
He sometimes comes in here, and
that was Daniel.
Yeah, he's a protester. He's a professional protester.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he does.
Huh? So he gets paid to do that.
We haven't talked to him because he's been in South Dakota.
Really?
Yeah, protesting the pipeline. He's
shouting his lungs out.
What was he calling it? Water protector.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just what he's dedicated his life to?
He's great. He's really great. He has all these causes that he believes in.
For a week or two.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff in the world. You can't just...
That's true.
You don't want to get bogged down on one thing and, change too much. But, yeah, Daniel's great. I wish
Daniel's good.
The very best for him. Okay, so Chris Gaines has sex addiction. Gaines then discovers he was getting screwed by his manager in a horrible contract and settles to get it out of it. This is still a backstory.
Of them just in the movie?
While furiously attempting to record another album, Gaines leaves the studio in the early hours of the morning and suffers a horrific car crash.
And changes his name to Garth Brooks.
He has to
How
undergo...
confusing would that be?
He has to go reconstructive face surgery. That is where Garth Brooks comes in as the actor portraying Gaines. What the fuck
so
is
it's a different
on?
actor that plays that character at first.
Did Lars Van Trier write that story? Because
really.
it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Does anyone have actual sex on camera? Then it probably is Lars.
Probably not, because isn't he one of those
Werner Herzog.
devout Christians? Isn't Garth Brooks?
Yeah, that's true. He is. He's a sweet boy.
The plan was to release Chris Gaines' greatest hits 1 year prior to a film called The Lamb.
Why 1 year prior?
Which was also supposed to be the next album in the fictitious rock star's career. In addition to the album, Brooks and company went through a lot of effort to create a fake behind-the-music style doc behind the life of Chris Gaines.
Oh.
Like a lot of effort.
Dude, there is some VH1 behind the music on Chris Gaines.
Yeah?
I saw it on YouTube.
That's probably what this is.
Oh, I've watched some of it.
They hired actors to play all the characters in Gaines' life. They also brought in real people like musicians and producers.
Yeah.
Don Was.
Don Was
is one of the real people.
Blue and Lonesome.
He actually produced the life of Chris Gaines. And respected, another journalist. They acted out scenes as if they were part of a real doc. The best thing to come from the whole episode may be the scene from Tracy Morgan and Chris Gaines.
Really?
Yeah. God, he looks so weird as Chris Gaines.
Didn't know. Wow. Christopher Gaines.
Not only that, but Brooks famously hosted SNL with the musical guest, Chris Gaines. Without even
Garth hosted?
Yeah.
But Chris Gaines was the musical guest?
Yes.
I think I'm going to be sick.
Without ever actually acknowledging the gimmick, they pulled out all the stops to get the hype machine in full swing.
Really? That's kind of interesting.
The whole experience didn't quite create the buzz they had hoped for. By April 1st, 2000...
I think it did with, like, My Sister, and, like, that's it.
The fans only purchased 700,000 copies.
Ooh.
Can you imagine that? Like, 700,000 copies. Anybody else would think, oh, that's a success, right?
Yeah.
But no, it has to. Everything has to be bigger and better.
Yeah.
You'll get what you like, and you'll be grateful. Okay.
Mr. Alexander.
By today's standards, that sounds like a whole lot, but those numbers were dismally low for Brooks, whose previous album hit 10 million copies sold worldwide. Whoa. That's crazy. Not to mention the label shipped nearly 3 million.
Friends in life.
I love this. Not to mention the label shipped nearly 3 million copies to distributors who eventually began heavily slashing the price of the album. The album did eventually move 2 million units, but it was a tremendous flop. So much, in fact, that Lamb was never filmed. Brooks reportedly wrote the screenplay for The Lamb, which would include
I bet that was great.
Included Chris Gaines' character, but not a focus on him. Instead, it would be about Chris Gaines' fans. What Chris Gaines?
What the fuck does that mean?
Are those more actors you have to pay to act like people? Okay. So yes, all the work was to create a backstory for a character who was part of the backstory of another character. You follow?
Wow. So it would be a movie about like a few different fans of Chris Gaines.
Yeah.
Those would be the main characters.
Paramount Pictures are probably planned to release the film.
I didn't know. I want to see it, man. Or no, they filmed it?
No.
Oh, fuck. I want to make it happen. I want to buy the script and like film that.
So, years later, actually recently he came out and said he had no regrets about Chris Gaines. Adding that he really liked the songs on the album. He may even do another one. Who knows?
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, because he... Like you were saying, they consider that a failure. And I'm sure he did. But he also was like, whatever, that was my experiment. I didn't know if it would work. You know, he was kind of at the fuck-it point of his career.
And he still sold 2 million copies.
Eventually sold 2 million. Yeah, that's pretty fucking good. And then went back to selling huge numbers on his tours and albums again for years. So he's fine. He did okay.
You don't think?
He's cool though. I like Garth.
Yeah.
I dig him.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, he's got friends in low places. I do too.
That is some straight Pink Floyd
When the thunder rolls.
The wall type shit.
Yeah, that is
Vera!
Pink. That's Vera, what has become of you type shit. That's the I'm just a new boy.
I really think that Pink Floyd, as far as like weird, abstract concert movies go,
yeah,
that's the best one because,
yeah,
I mean, even the Mighty Zeppelin, like, Song Remains the Same is just kind of cheesy.
It is. I like it, but it's not. It's.
I like it because it's like a time capsule. It's
absolutely
them in their prime.
And I also am looking at it as like, oh, I know this as like a like over the top thing, so I'm like expecting it. I kind of like the over the topness of it, and the way they play some of those songs, they are like at their fucking peak. Even though, like you said, they are at the point where they're kind of getting kind of cheesy, and the movie itself has a lot of cheesy parts. But they play some of their performances of those songs are like amazing.
Yeah. I really like the animation in the wall.
The wall, yeah, that's
very
cool.
trippy. The
story's like pretty loose. I mean, it's like a stream of conscious thing.
And then he becomes like a fascist at the very end.
Yeah.
He gets very weird.
And fucking Bob Geldof, or however you say his name.
Yeah.
He sings in the flesh the second time they play it.
Oh, yeah?
In the movie. Yeah. Because you know how they play it on, like, disc 2?
Mm-hmm.
They come back to it and it's, like, a little different. Well, in the movie, it's Bob Geldof singing it for some reason. Yeah.
That's cool.
And he's nutty.
You know the name of his band?
What is it? It's something
The Boomtown Rats.
Ooh. Oh yeah, and his song was the I Don't Like Mondays.
No, no, it wasn't.
I seriously think it was. I've heard it before. It's not a good thing. Oh my god, what album is this from? Dirty Work?
Bridges.
Or Bridges to Babylon?
Babylon.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. I can't wait to dig into all that weird stone stuff, like the 80s stuff.
Yeah, I've just never really listened to it.
I really haven't.
I mean, this is the definitive Rolling Stones podcast.
Yeah, so we got to really cover it all. I mean, we covered the first 3 albums in great detail. By the way, actually, I need to make a correction. I saw on the first album that Tell Me, was the first Jagger Richards. There were 2 songs. There's one song that is credited to Nanker Felge, so that would be an original. I didn't realize that. And then there's another one that's Nanker Felge and Phil Spector as the composers.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like Little by Little. And then I forget the one that's just Nanker Felge, but... So there's actually 3 on the first album that are original Stones. And that's one of the only... That is only like the second or third thing we've ever gotten wrong in the history of the show. Every other thing is 100% factual.
Kurt Lauder is always fact-checking for us.
Fact-checking constantly.
I tell him, he says, Dante, I've done my work. I say, do it again, Kurt. I just slam the door in his face.
Yeah.
And I think it motivates him really well.
And you put your cigarette out on his arm.
Yeah, but you never tell him you're going to do it.
No.
You just say, hey, Kurt, can I see your arm? You just put it out.
Just put it out.
And he usually says something, but I don't know. He's stupid.
Burn a hole in his MTV shirt.
Yeah. He was complaining the other day. I wanted him to leave, after work. But he couldn't leave because I had slashed one of his tires.
Oh.
And I thought it would be a funny joke, but then I realized he had to stay here.
Wow, so he was a total dick about it? Yeah. I mean, you're just having a good time with your buddy. You slashed his tire. Why would he, get mad about that?
Yeah. And then why would he try to stay here for the night?
Yeah, he should have just drove home.
I'm not going to put him up. That's not a hotel.
No.
Yeah.
Just like me, where I like snipped a bunch of wires and plugs and hoses in the bottom of his car one night, and it didn't run. It's like, fix your fucking car, you pussy.
Come on. You're a man, right? You should be able to fix that.
Yeah.
Stupid head.
He pissed me off that night.
He was a real dumb.
But then he brought in all these like tapes.
He brought in a
TV
bunch of dozen donuts. A baker's dozen donuts. And they're really good.
He's just
all maple bars. I didn't understand that.
And the meatball subs, he brought in a couple of those too.
Yeah.
He likes those. We have barrels of Baja Blast in here.
Yeah,
kegs
chilled.
That are chilled and aging. They're delicious. So we're in the middle of our studying and our knowledge gathering techniques with Out of Our Heads, the fourth U.S. Rolling Stones album. And we're going to probably do that one next. And, yeah, that'll be pretty cool. And then, I think December's Children and Everybody's is the next album. And then there's like a couple more of these where they're still fucking around with covers and trying to shake their mop tops. And then they go the other way and go straight into psychedelia.
BJ is still around.
And then they just get erect at the same time and make amazing drug-induced music.
That's a really interesting way to put it, Greg.
Thank you. It summed up the entire career.
Oh.
But yeah, we gotta get through the mop top. It's fucking bullshit. Remember he said that? John gets kind of pissed off sometimes.
Yeah, I think we'll play... We haven't really talked about the rivalry, but we'll...
Yeah. We had a quote from Yoko about it.
Yeah.
That we're going to play probably next time.
She is...
How she feels about it. She puts
it... dear.
Really simply and
she's very nice.
Thoughtfully. Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself.
This was kind of a long, meandering ep, but...
We learned about Chris Gaines.
Ian shit! In the history of Ian Stewart, the ghost of the Rolling Stones. The sixth stone, man! Woo!
I'm glad we shed some light on that.
Yeah.
Shine a light.
This was kind of his episode we dedicate to him.
Yeah. So wherever you might be, well, he's dead, right?
We already talked during Theologians, we talked about the astral plane where Sir Ian
like
Stewart
his soul probably went somewhere else, but his body like rotted.
It's rotting with worms and shit inside of it right now.
Yeah.
Or it was fucking burned and scattered.
This is like some kind of
over a bunch
barbarian
of Rolling Stone vinyls.
Burial. Or no, that's Viking.
If you couldn't get his signature, you'd get them to sprinkle some of his ash on your vinyl
and
copy
snort some of it up.
Of like the Rolling Stones Now or something that you wanted signed. Or you could snort it like Keith Richards. The Magic Stick. We might have to do another Magic Stick update. DeMarcus Cousins is still on the Kings.
For now.
For now, yeah.
He scored 47 points today.
Yeah, or 37?
37, yeah.
That was a good one. So we'll keep you guys updated on the Cousins thing, because eventually he might not be wearing the purple and black in our beloved side.
Well, I know a lot of people, they probably had never heard of basketball.
No.
They had never heard of the NBA. They had never heard of the Sacramento Kings. They had never heard of DeMarcus Cousins.
Why don't we break down basketball? Mr. Naismith.
The sport of handball.
Came over on the Plymouth. On the... I don't know.
Alright, everybody.
Crashed on the Plymouth Rock.
The
Mayflower.
Mayflower, yeah. Mayflower. I seriously didn't know, and then you said it, and I was thought, oh man, that's so dumb. Like,
yeah,
it's so basic. Alright, everybody, thank you for listening.
All you Ruby Tuesdays, goodbye.